My name is Zane Stevens, and I am the founder of Protea Financial. It is October 8th, 2024. We're deep into Q4 already, and I say deep because this Q4 moves quickly. It's a short quarter, even if you don't want to believe it. I'm sure if you're in the retail space, it's a busy quarter, but a lot's going to happen in the next few weeks. We're going to rush every year, we're going to hit Halloween, and then all of a sudden, holiday season starts. Thanksgiving, Christmas, shutdowns, all of that's going to happen. And this is a big focus for us at Protea Financial. You know, Last week on the show, we spoke very heavily about how do us, specifically accountants, start planning for year end? How do we help our clients be successful by getting the information that they need in place and ready to meet what is a very, very busy time for accountants? In January, we'll effectively do three closes: month end, year end, and preparing of tax accounts. And not to forget, we'll have a bunch of additional compliance that needs to get out the way as well, which includes those pesky 1099s. So make sure you have the W-9s in place. But what I want to do today is really change focus. And big focus for me is, how do we get business owners ready for 2025? And how do we make sure that business owners are ready for a year-end close? Now, this is important for many reasons. One, because I work with business owners, specifically small business owners, on a regular basis, and our goal is to keep them as organized, give them good information, and allow them to make better business decisions. But additionally, I'm a business owner. I own Protea Financial, and it's perfect time for me to start thinking about how do I get myself ready for the business year end. So we're going to sort of switch it around. As accountants, we know what we need to do. We're started planning, we're working towards it, and we're going to rest up at the end of December, then come back in January and smash January out of the park. But business owners, we need to start thinking a little bit longer term. We got to start thinking, what can we do in Q4 to allow us to be in the best position to be successful for a quick year-end close, and then allow us to start focusing on 2025. Because this is a great time to also start thinking about what happens next year. Part of that is looking at our goals for 2024 and saying, did we meet them? Did we not meet them? What changes do we need to make to improve our performance next year? But also, how do we realign our goals of our business to the actuality of our business in this past year? Now, it feels like a lot because all of a sudden it's October, but we're making decisions for the whole of 2025. But this is again where planning becomes so critically important, because we need to make sure that we are working towards the goal of setting ourselves up for success. Let me say that again. We're working to the goal of setting ourselves up for success. And this is why planning is so important, because it's looking ahead to see what do we think is going to happen, could happen, and what can we put in place to make sure that those things that we need to happen actually occur. As a business owner, a big part of what we do is consistently planning. Plan, execute, plan, execute, plan, execute. Now, a lot of the time, planning and execution are happening at the same time, right? Plan one's over here while we're executing, we're working on plan two. It's this constant movement. This is why being a business owner is not for the faint of heart. Because you're constantly, it's like a chess game, looking 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 moves in advance to try and help you be successful. This is why being a business owner is tough, because you're never resting. This is why we recommend that business owners make sure they have a great team in place. Even if you're a solopreneur, having a good team in place is critically important. We always recommend a great bookkeeper or accountant to help with your day-to-day tasks. Make sure you have the best tax provider you can afford in place to help you with planning and making decisions when it comes to spend. Having a great banker in place that understands your industry and allows you to have good strategic conversations about where your business is going and how it affects the lending. And finally, and there's a lot more to this, but this is the last one that I want to focus today, is go get yourself a peer network. Peer networks are a great place to learn from other people going through similar experiences as you. It's a good place to share wins and losses and figure out a plan on how do we move forward. It's a great place to speak openly, to get ideas, to help you improve and give you the best opportunity of being successful in your business. So even if you're a solopreneur, build a great team around you. Having a good team sets you up for success. But okay, now let's focus. It is Q4 2024. We want year end to go smoothly and we want 2025 to be great. So yeah, we're at right now. First thing I think you need to start doing is, and I'm hoping that you're doing this on a more regular basis, I really do, but go and pick up that last set of financial statements that your accountant sent me. You know that file that they send you regularly on a monthly basis that they're assuming you're looking at? If you're not, now's the time to go and review it. Look at it for your actual performance year to date. Look at it versus last year. Compare your results versus your budget, and start formulating questions. Also take time to look at it and see if anything doesn't make sense to you. Does revenue look wrong, high or low? Are there expenses in there that are higher than you expected and you can't quite put your finger on where the rest of the costs come? Do you have expense claims that you have not submitted and need to still get into those numbers and will drastically change the results? I hope you're doing this on a monthly basis, but if you're not, now is the perfect time to pick up those financials and set up a meeting with your accountant to discuss your questions and findings. It is a great time to give those expense claims in so that the books are as complete as possible and it will avoid the rushes at year end. You want to resolve any discrepancies now. Trying to do this just before shutdown period of many companies or as the new year starts is a way to set yourselves up for failure. If you want to set yourself up for success, ask those questions now. And then use this as a growth opportunity and set a time in your calendar on a monthly basis. Make it a recurring meeting with yourself to review your financial information. But now, do it right now. Review that last set of financials. Ask those questions. Understand where your business is and where your business is going. Additionally, I want you to make sure you have a meeting with your accountant. This is not always easy because there's a good chance you might just have a bookkeeper in place and they might not be able to ask you any questions, but that's okay. What I want you to do is set up that call and ask them what they need from you to be successful at year end and close out 2024 in the most efficient time possible. Yes, this might seem a little weird that you're going to ask your service provider what you can do to help them be successful. But I promise you, this is a great question to be asking because their success is ultimately your success because it gives you the best opportunity to be prepared and have information that you can use to formulate your plans and decisions for the future. Additionally, in that phone call, talk to them about what W-9s they're struggling to get from those vendors that you paid outside of the process, even though you didn't receive the correct documentation. Now is the time to sort of apologize but really show that you understand the difficulty that they're facing in trying to get those 1099s out, and that you will help them get those W-9s at this point in time. So 2 questions in those meetings. What can I do to make your life easier and make sure we're successful in closing your end on time? And number 2, what W-9s do you need to close out the year and get those 1099s out on time? 2 important questions. Now you've done your internal accountant, right? You've got the plan, you know where you're going. But I need you to have 2 more meetings. The first one is with your banker. This is critically important. If you have a line of credit in place and there is some sort of year-end requirement reporting or covenants that need to be met, share your financial information with them right now. Give them an update of your forecast on where the year will be going, and to start discussing where you are as a business versus those covenants. For better or worse, you want them to be informed and not have surprises in January, or most of the time February 15th, that you didn't hit those covenants. If things aren't quite working out, or even if they are, now is the time to tell your banker. It gives them opportunity to discuss possibilities with you and what needs to be done to make sure that you're in line. It also gives them an opportunity to talk to their credit team and potentially prepare them for something that might not look 100% perfect. Honesty with your partners is critical. Additionally, while you're in those meetings, confirm the deadlines. Make sure you know what those deadlines are and what their requirements are. That is critically important because sometimes the requirements do change, either because of the period of time, maybe because you're not going to reach the covenants, maybe you need additional reporting, or you've gone over a certain threshold and now they need a compiled set of financials or reviewed set of financials, which you need to plan for. So go in there, be honest with your banker and ask them what they need from you, when they need it, and how do we make sure that we're all on the same page. That second additional meeting should be with your tax provider. Your tax provider is a critically important part of your team. Again, you want to be sharing your operational accounting records with them at this point in time so you can start planning for tax payments that are going to be due in early January. They need to start making estimates for you, as well as potentially having any discussions about ways to reduce your tax liability. Always nice if you have one, going into the new year. Is there space for you to put money into a 401k? Is there room for you to take more salary? Is there room, I don't know, think of the weird and wonderful things out there. Additionally, in that conversation, you should be telling them about all the major transactions that happened in your business during the year, as well as any once-off situations that might have occurred. Maybe you had to write up a bunch of inventory. Maybe you all of a sudden developed a new product and you've got some room for an R&D credit. Hey, maybe you started building a building and there's cost segregation to take into place. Share with your accountant what happened in your business so they can start thinking about possible tax strategies for you. If you do this with them in January, they are under pressure and they will not be able to give you all the best solutions. They'll only be able to provide you with the top of mind solutions. So have that conversation with your tax provider right now. Additionally, confirm their deadlines. When do they need your accountant to provide them with year-end accounts? What date is the latest they need information to make sure that they meet the tax deadline of 4/15? Get them to confirm that in the meeting and confirm it via email. Both are important. You want there to be no surprises. The worst is you work your team to death, you get it to them January 30th, and they're like, nope, need it January 25th. Make sure you and your tax provider are on the same page And again, as with the banker, be as open and honest with them and share as much as you can about your business and your personal life so that they can start planning the best strategy for you going to the final, you know, filing of your 2024 taxes. So we've had a bunch of very important conversations, three main ones: our tax provider, our internal accountant, as well as banker. We're sharing all the same information, telling them where we are as a business, where we're going, as well as making sure we're talking about any changes in our business. We're getting all three of those people on the same page so they know what is required of them, and we're moving forward with our business. All three of them are probably going to be asking you the same question: what about a budget? Now's a good time to be working on it. If not, it's also a good time to review one that you had put in place before. But building a budget for 2025, it's a great time to get that done in October, latest November, so that you have a plan to work for and execute. This is critically important as well if you're planning inventory requirements. Maybe you need a new staff member, maybe you need to, some sort of capital investment and you need to talk to your bank about it. But get your budget in place. It's a good idea to look at your 2024, maybe even 2023, 2022, see where your business is going and make some assumptions on where your business can go based on plans that you've created on the historical information. Very good time to do a budget. Very importantly, make sure we're reviewing our actuals to our budget on a regular basis. Back to that really good, plan that you should be putting in place to make sure that you're successful. Review your financials on a regular basis. Next up is figuring out sort of what compliance deadlines are coming up. This is where you talk to your accountant. This is where you talk to your tax provider. And if you're in the wine industry, you probably talk to your compliance firm as well. Understand when the various deadlines are, what information is needed from you, and when you need to get it to different people to make sure that those deadlines are met. Going into the end of this year, there is an additional deadline that we all need to think of as a small business owner, which is the CTA filing. We've done a whole video series on this, as well as some blog posts on our website. I'll link them in the video, but have a look at that. That deadline is effectively the end of 2024, and then it will be always 30 days after any changes in your personal details going forward. So add that to your list. On the winery side, always important to remember sales tax filings are all due in January, every state, because at the end of the year, you're going to have that TTB filing, you're going to have California wine growers filing, as well as, any other potential compliance filings that come along with your business. So make sure you know what those are. Make sure you're scheduling them and put them in place correctly. It's important to start also thinking about the holiday season. The holiday season is what makes Q4 so short. Especially, think about the wine industry. A lot of people will take time off after harvest, which will go along till about the end of October. So people start sort of disappearing November, December, and it becomes very tough to get hold of people. Most accounting practices will close down for some period of time, maybe the whole Thanksgiving week, most likely between Christmas and New Year. So now is the time to communicate with people to figure out what that shutdown period time is, as well as plan when you will be off and let other people know about that as well. Shutdown period creates some difficulty because people will be less available. This is where communication becomes critical. And as a business owner, you really need to make sure that your communication is in place. It is also the good reason to get that meeting with your accountant, your tax provider, and banker done in October, because it's just going to be harder to get hold of people in November and December. It is just a fact. Then January is really busy and it's harder to schedule meetings. So just be prepared. The holidays are coming. They're going to add stress to your life. People are going to be less available, but they're fun. And we need to embrace them. But we must understand as business owners, it does create challenges in our lives, and we need to plan for it. Q4 as a business owner is going to be a critically busy time. It is a very important time of the year because you're not just looking about now, you're looking in the future as well. Now, it's always good as a business owner to have a recurring forecast that you continuously roll forward every 12 months, that you can review on a regular basis, compare to your last 12 months performance, see if you're heading in the right direction. That is the dream. But I know not all of you can do that. You don't have the time for it. You don't have the resources for it. And honestly, it's just a little overwhelming, especially if you maybe don't have the right partners in place. What I can suggest for you is, rather than focus in on the budget, give yourself something to work towards. Give you something that your team can look at, share together, and understand how well they are doing. Have a plan so that we all know where we're going, and have contingencies. One of the things to think about is, what is my low side? What do you think my worst case outcome is? And what I think is my stretch goal? Where do I want to push this business to? If I put in these extra resources, if I work extra hard, if I close that extra contract, where can I get to? Don't think of yourself as an absolute, but think of yourself as a spectrum. Think about your business as something that could go really well or really bad. And there's a lot of factors outside of your little world that could affect that. But I do believe with good planning, a great team, and a lot of passion and motivation, you can be successful. And a great way to set yourself up for success is doing extensive planning and review of your business in Q4. So have those conversations, review those financials, start planning for the future. Q4 is the opportunity to set yourself up for success in 2025. Give yourself the best opportunity to be the best version of yourself by putting in a little bit of extra work, focusing on the future, making sure you know what happened in the past, and be successful. I know it feels like a lot, but understand now is the time. Don't procrastinate on this. The holidays will get in the way. So focus in your time, get it done now. Make sure everybody's planned, on the same page, and ready to roll into 2025. 2024 has been a weird year for a lot of businesses. Hey, in the wine industry, it's been extra tough. I've seen some weird stuff as well. I'd say my lowest close rate ever has been this year in Protea, because people are way more price sensitive than ever before. But that doesn't mean I stop trying. Doesn't mean I stop giving the best quality product to the clients we already have. And it does not stop me planning for the future. Let's not make excuses. Let's work hard, do the planning, and hope for success in 2025. I want to remind you that a good team, even if you're a solopreneur, is super important to your success. Get good people around you. If you're in the wine industry, Protea would love to be that person for you. And go and be successful. Never forget about a peer group. It does make a big difference. And let's have a good Q4. It's going to move fast, but this is the memory months coming up. These are the ones that we'll remember when we're old. And if you want your business to be successful, these are the ones where we have to put in the time to be successful. I hope you're all enjoying the early autumn. I know I am. Did a couple of pumpkin patch visits, carved a pumpkin last night, enjoying soccer season, enjoying football. Life is good. But doesn't mean it will continue to be good if I just sit back and hope for the best. Keep working hard, do that planning, set yourself up for success. Until next week, be kind. Goodbye.